I was supposed to die that night. The man who stole me was supposed to kill me. Instead, he became my mate. And my fiancé was the one who ordered it. 3 days before her mating ceremony, Mira Thorne decided she would not behave like a future alpha's bride. The bar pulsed with music and cheap neon light, deliberately chosen because Gideon Voss would never step foot inside it. Too human, too loud, too uncontrolled. Perfect. Her friends circled her with champagne glasses raised, laughter spilling over the base. Outside, Gideon's guards stood at every entrance, dressed in dark suits, pretending not to watch. They were always watching. Mira tipped her head back and let the tequila burn down her throat. Shifters didn't get drunk easily. But tonight, she wanted to feel reckless. 3 days from now, she would stand beside Gideon, alpha of the North Ridge Pack, and bind her wolf to his in front of hundreds. A strategic union. Peace through dominance. Her uncle Alaric called it necessary. Mira called it inevitable. She set her glass down and climbed onto the low platform near the bar, ignoring the murmur of disapproval from the guards. Let them report it. If Gideon wanted obedience, he should have courted her instead of negotiating her. Music vibrated through her ribs as she rolled her shoulders slowly, deliberately. Not vulgar, not careless, just enough. A reminder that she was still her own. The prickle came without warning, not from the guards, not from the crowd, from the back of the room. Her wolf lifted its head. Mira turned. Green eyes met hers through the haze of colored light. He wasn't dressed like a pack enforcer. No insignia, no posture of command. He leaned against the far wall as if it belonged to him. Broad shoulders, dark jacket, still as winter stone, watching her, not politely, not cautiously, hungry. Heat pooled low in her stomach before she could stop it. He didn't look away, neither did she. Her wolf did not retreat. It stepped forward, curious. The stranger lifted his glass slowly in silent acknowledgement. Mira's pulse stuttered. He was not one of Gideon's men. She would have known. And he did not look like prey. She let the music guide her again, movements slower now. Controlled, intentional. She felt his gaze travel, not like possession, like assessment, as if memorizing. The room narrowed, the lights blurred at the edges. Her balance shifted. Strange. Mira frowned. Shifters did not lose equilibrium from 2 drinks. The floor tilted again. Subtle. Wrong. Her wolf pushed forward, alarmed this time. Across the room, the stranger straightened. He moved through the crowd with calm precision, parting bodies without force. Mira stepped down from the platform. Her heel caught. Strong hands caught her first. Solid chest. Hard muscle. Pine. Smoke. Cold air before a storm. "You should sit down," he said quietly. His voice was low, rough-edged and steady. Mira pulled back. Her limbs lagged. "What did you—" The words dissolved. Her wolf surged and hit something heavy. Chemical. Suppressed. Rage flared. "You smell like winter," she whispered without meaning to. His jaw tightened. "Don't," he murmured, almost to himself. Across the bar, Gideon's guards shifted. Too slow, too complacent. The stranger angled Mira's body toward the exit, shielding her face against his chest. She tried to dig her claws in. They would not emerge. Her body betrayed her. "Who are you?" she forced out. His green eyes locked onto hers. For a single charged second, something ancient flickered between them. Recognition. Impossible. Immediate. Then the world went black. When Mira woke, she knew she was moving before she knew she was bound. Vibration rumbled beneath her. Wrists pulled tight behind her back. Ankles tied. Mouth dry. She inhaled sharply. Rubber. Metal. Gasoline. Trunk. Her heart slammed hard enough to bruise. She reached for her wolf. It was there. Dimmed. Drugged. Caged beneath layers of suppression. Panic clawed upward. Gideon. He would tear the mountains apart looking for her. Wouldn't he? The vehicle climbed sharply. Her ears popped. Higher altitude. Colder air. She twisted violently once. The trunk lid didn't budge. Her breathing steadied by force. Think. The stranger's scent lingered faintly in the enclosed space. Pine. Smoke. Snow. Her wolf stirred again. Not in fear, in awareness. And that terrified her more than the ropes. The engine slowed. Gravel crunched. Silence fell like a blade. Footsteps approached. Measured. Unhurried. The trunk latch clicked. Cold mountain air flooded in. Green eyes stared down at her. Clearer now. Sharper. "You're awake," he said. Not surprised. Prepared. Mira tried to snarl. The gag muffled it. He crouched slowly, studying her face as if confirming something to himself. "I didn't want to drug you," he said evenly, "but you wouldn't have come willingly." His gaze did not apologize. Not even slightly. And in that moment, Mira Thorne understood one thing with terrifying clarity. This was not a random abduction. This was deliberate. Calculated. And whoever had ordered it knew exactly what they were doing. Cold air bit into Mira's lungs as the stranger cut the ropes from her ankles. Her wrists remained bound. Smart. He stepped back, giving her space to shift. Or try. "Stay in wolf form," he said evenly. "It'll be easier." Her wolf answered before she consciously chose. Bones cracked. Muscles coiled. Cream and silver fur burst through skin as she shrank into her smaller, faster form. She hit the ground running. Snow sprayed behind her paws as she lunged straight for his throat. He had expected it. Raphael Calder moved before she reached him. His hands closed around her mid-leap. Not crushing, not careless, controlled. He twisted with her momentum and redirected her into the snow instead of into his neck. Mira snarled, teeth snapping inches from his forearm. He didn't flinch. "Good," he murmured, almost approving. "I was hoping you'd fight." She clawed upward, raking his sleeve. His grip tightened just enough to pin without hurting. And that was worse. He could overpower her, easily. But he wasn't. Her wolf faltered for a fraction of a second, confused. Raphael met her gaze, green, steady, assessing. 5 miles, he said calmly. "You can try again when we get there." The arrogance. Mira lunged again. He shifted, not fully, not yet, but enough that power rolled off him like thunder. Bigger, heavier, stronger. Not an alpha. Something else. Her wolf hesitated. And in that hesitation, he pressed a syringe into the thick fur at her shoulder. Betrayal flared. The sedative burned. Her limbs slackened. He caught her before she collapsed fully into the snow. "I said stay in wolf form," he muttered. "Don't make this harder." Her vision blurred. The last thing she saw before darkness swallowed her again. He looked almost reluctant. When she woke the second time, it was to warmth. Not comfort. Just warmth. Firelight flickered against timber walls. A cabin. Mountain remote. Isolated. Strategic. Her wrists were no longer bound. She sat up sharply. The door was closed, not locked. She could feel him through the walls, moving. Steady heartbeat. Controlled breathing. Mira slid off the bed silently. The window. She crossed the room, testing the latch. Unlocked. Interesting. Snow fell thick outside, dense forest beyond. Distance from pack territory was impossible to gauge. She inhaled slowly. His scent lingered everywhere. Pine, smoke, iron. He hadn't masked it. Deliberate. Mira shifted, fast, clean, and launched through the window. Cold exploded against her fur. She hit the snow running. 10 strides, 12. The forest line loomed, and Raphael was suddenly in front of her. He hadn't chased. He'd circled. She swerved hard left. He intercepted again. Not rushed, not breathless. He was playing chess. Her wolf lunged one final time. This time he shifted fully. The transformation was brutal. Bones stretching, fur darkening, massive gray wolf crashing into existence before her. Larger, dominant, not alpha-scented, but stronger than most. He didn't attack. He simply stood in her path and waited. The wind howled between them. Snow gathered on his thick fur. His gaze never left hers. You cannot outrun me. The message was clear. Mira's wolf held ground for 3 heartbeats. Then 2. Then 1. She shifted back, breath misting in the frozen air. Human again. Furious. You think this is a game? She snapped. Raphael shifted as well. Slower, deliberate. He stood there bare-chested in the snow, as if the cold meant nothing. It stopped being a game the moment someone paid for you, he replied. Her stomach dropped. Paid. Who? She demanded. He stepped forward once. She did not step back. That's not information you get yet. Her palm flew toward his face. He caught her wrist mid-swing. Effortless. Their bodies collided in the snow. Heat flared where skin met skin. Her wolf surged violently. Not in fear. Recognition. Raphael froze. Just for a second. His grip loosened a fraction. He felt it too. The air between them thickened. Unstable. Ancient. Mira's breath hitched. Furious at herself for noticing. For feeling. Let go, she ordered. His jaw tightened. Not until you stop trying to get yourself killed. Her eyes flashed. You drugged me. You would have shifted in a crowded bar. You abducted me. Yes. No apology, just fact. The simplicity of it unsettled her more than excuses would have. His gaze dropped briefly to her throat, to her pulse. He swallowed. Hard. And then he stepped back first, breaking contact. Inside, he said. She stared at him. You don't get to command me. Inside, he repeated, quieter now, but stronger. Her wolf reacted instantly. Not submission, but awareness. The pull was subtle, disturbing. Mira turned sharply and stalked back toward the cabin. Not because he ordered it, but because something far more dangerous than captivity was beginning to form between them. And she needed distance to think. Behind her, Raphael followed, silent, measured, watching. Inside, the fire snapped softly in the hearth. Mira faced him across the room. Start talking. He leaned against the far wall, mirroring the bar, full circle. Name, she demanded. Raphael Calder. The name settled heavily in the space. Why me? His expression didn't change. Because you were requested. Her chest tightened. Requested. Not random. Not opportunistic. Intentional. By who? Raphael held her gaze, and for the first time since the bar, he hesitated. Raphael's hesitation lasted only a breath, but Mira saw it. In that single pause, she learned more than he intended. He wasn't afraid of her. He was afraid of the name behind her. By who? She pressed. Raphael's eyes stayed on hers, green glass in firelight. Controlled. If you keep asking that, he said, you'll make this worse for yourself. Mira laughed once, sharp, humorless. You dragged me into the mountains, drugged me twice, and you think there's a version of this that gets worse? His jaw flexed. He didn't answer. That silence was an answer anyway. Mira stepped closer, slow and deliberate. She kept her hands at her sides, showing him she wasn't trying to attack. She was trying to corner him. You're not Pack, she said. No markings, no chain of command, no alpha scent. Raphael's gaze flicked briefly to her throat, to her pulse, then back to her eyes. I'm not Pack. A rogue, Mira said, watching his reaction. A faint narrowing of his eyes. Not offense, not pride, resignation. Yes. Then why take a contract from an alpha? Mira asked. This time the hesitation was even smaller. But it was there. Fire popped in the hearth. Raphael's voice stayed level. Money. Mira studied him. Most liars filled space with words. Raphael used fewer, like he didn't want to hear himself talk. You don't look like a man who needs money, she said. His mouth twitched. Not a smile. Something darker. You don't know what I need. Mira's wolf paced beneath her skin, restless. It wanted to get closer. Not to fight. To understand. She hated that. She moved again, closing the distance until she could feel his body heat across the gap. Raphael didn't shift, didn't retreat. But his breathing changed. Barely. A fraction deeper. You're not hurting me, Mira said quietly. Not really. His eyes hardened. You think you can charm your way out of this? No, Mira said. I think you don't want to. For the first time, something cracked. Not guilt. Conflict. Raphael looked away, just once, as if he'd betrayed himself by letting anything show. Then he pushed off the wall and crossed the room toward the small kitchen table. A satellite phone sat there, old and scratched. Mira's heart dropped. Pack tech in the mountains meant only one thing. Someone was monitoring this. Someone expected updates. Raphael followed her stare. Don't touch it, he said. Mira lifted her chin. Who are you reporting to? He didn't answer. Mira's patience snapped. She lunged for the phone. Raphael caught her from behind, fast, precise, one arm wrapping around her waist and pulling her back against his chest. The contact hit like a strike. Not pain. Heat. Her wolf surged so hard it made her breath catch. Raphael's hold tightened for a half-second, then loosened, like he'd felt it too. Mira forced air into her lungs. Let go. His breath warmed the side of her face. Stop. Stop what? She hissed. Pushing, he growled softly, and there was something in that sound that wasn't dominance. It was restraint. As if he was holding back a part of himself he didn't trust. Mira turned in his arms, sharply, trying to break the hold. Raphael let her. Almost. He didn't release her. He guided her instead, turning with her momentum until her back hit the wooden wall beside the hearth. Not slammed, placed, controlled. His hand stayed on her waist, steadying. The other braced on the wall beside her shoulder, caging her without touching more than he had to. Mira's throat tightened. Her wolf pressed forward, hungry for something she refused to name. Raphael's eyes dropped, once, to her mouth, then to her throat again. His nostrils flared. Mira could smell him more strongly here. Pine and smoke, yes, but also iron and cold air, and underneath it, something raw, something that reacted to her like she was a wound he couldn't stop reopening. "You're engaged," he said suddenly, voice low. Mira blinked. "What?" "Your promise to Gideon Voss," Raphael said, as if speaking the name tasted wrong. Mira's blood went cold. "How do you know that?" Raphael's gaze lifted, pinning her. "I did my homework." "You did not strike me as the homework type," Mira said, trying for bite, but it came out thin. Raphael's mouth twitched again, that same almost smile. Then his expression flattened. "You're a political piece," he said. "You know that?" Mira's wolf snarled at the truth. "Yes," Mira said, the word sharp as glass. "And you're the man holding the chain." Raphael's eyes darkened. "If I were holding the chain," he said quietly, "you wouldn't be standing." Mira hated that a part of her believed him, hated it more that her body responded to the closeness. She shoved at his chest. He didn't move. He watched her, unblinking. "Why aren't you hurting me?" she whispered, furious. "Why aren't you doing what men like you always do when they have someone trapped?" Raphael's jaw flexed. His voice came out rougher. "Because I'm not here for that." "Then what are you here for?" Mira demanded. For the first time. He looked tired, bone deep. He exhaled slowly, like he'd been carrying that answer for weeks. "I'm here because someone else's life depends on me finishing this." Mira froze. Someone else. Not him. Not greed. A lever. A hostage. "Who?" she asked, quieter now. Raphael's eyes held hers, and this time the crack widened. A name sat behind his teeth. He didn't want to give it, but the truth was already bleeding through the seams. "My sister," he said finally. Mira's wolf stilled, because she heard it, not the words, the feeling, protectiveness, fear, a weight so heavy it made even Raphael's strength look like a mask. Mira swallowed. "Is she Pack?" she asked. "No." "Is she safe?" Raphael didn't answer fast enough. Mira's stomach tightened. That was all she needed. This wasn't just a kidnapping. This was a trap with 2 victims. And the person holding the leash wasn't Raphael. It was whoever could threaten his sister and still have him standing here. Mira's voice dropped. "Gideon." Raphael's eyes flashed. Not confirmation. Not denial. Warning. Mira inhaled. Her wolf paced again, slower now, thinking. "If Gideon wanted me," she said carefully, "he could have taken me openly. He has guards, power, authority." Raphael's hand slid off the wall. He took 1 step back, breaking the cage. "That's what you don't understand," he said. His voice went very still. "Some men don't want you. They want what you represent." Mira's throat tightened. The fire snapped. Outside, wind scraped against the cabin like claws. Raphael's gaze shifted toward the satellite phone. Something about his posture changed. Alert. Listening. Mira followed his attention. The phone rang. Once. Twice. Raphael stared at it as if it were a loaded gun. Mira's pulse slammed. "Answer it," she said, though her voice didn't sound like an order. It sounded like dread. Raphael's jaw clenched. He didn't move. The phone kept ringing. Mira stepped closer, eyes locked on his. "If that's Gideon," she said, "and you don't answer, he'll assume you failed." Raphael's gaze snapped to hers, and for the first time since the bar, Mira saw fear, not of Gideon, of what Gideon would do next. Raphael reached for the phone. His hand hovered over it. Then he looked at Mira, like he was making a decision he couldn't undo. "Whatever you hear," he said quietly, "don't speak." Mira didn't trust herself to respond. Raphael picked up. "Calder," he said. A pause. His face went blank, as if something on the other end had stripped the air out of the room. Mira leaned in without meaning to, straining to catch a word. Raphael's eyes narrowed slightly. "Yes, sir." "Sir." Mira's blood turned to ice. Gideon didn't tolerate casual tone. Raphael listened, jaw hardening with every second. Then he said tightly, "Understood." The call ended. Silence flooded the cabin. Raphael lowered the phone slowly. Mira's mouth went dry. "What did he say?" she asked. Raphael didn't look at her. His voice came out like stone. "He wants proof you're still alive." Mira held his stare. "And after that?" Raphael's eyes lifted, green, cold, terrified. "After that," he said, "he's going to tell me to kill you." The satellite phone sat between them like a blade. Mira didn't move. Raphael didn't breathe. "He didn't sound surprised," she said quietly. Raphael's eyes flicked to her. He wasn't. Ice slid through her veins. "Say it." Raphael looked away first. "He expected you to fight," he said. "Expected you to try escaping." Mira felt something ugly settle in her chest. Gideon knew her too well. "Why?" she pressed. "Why not take me openly?" Raphael hesitated only a second. "Because if you disappear near rival territory," he said evenly, "it gives him leverage." War. The word didn't need to be spoken. Mira felt it lock into place. "You're hiding me on Rowan Dre's land," she said. Raphael didn't confirm it. He didn't need to. Her pulse hammered. "If I die here," she whispered, "Gideon can blame Rowan." "Yes." No apology, just truth. The simplicity of it hurt more than betrayal. Mira stepped back, shaking her head once. "This wasn't about me." Raphael's voice stayed flat. "It never was." Silence stretched. Then, the phone rang again. Raphael stiffened. Mira didn't need to be told to stay quiet. He answered. "Calder." A pause. Raphael's shoulders locked. "Yes, sir." Mira watched his throat move as he swallowed. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, "No." The word cracked through the cabin like gunfire. Mira froze. Raphael's eyes blazed. Not at her. At whoever stood on the other end. "I won't," he said. The silence that followed felt alive. Then Raphael's face drained of color. He dropped the phone. It clattered across the wooden floor. Mira stepped forward instinctively. "What did he—" Raphael doubled over. A violent cough tore from his chest. Blood hit the floorboards. Mira stopped breathing. He staggered, gripping the table. Another cough. More blood. "Raphael." Her voice didn't sound like her own. His hands shook. His breathing turned ragged. Through the air between them, something shifted. Her wolf recoiled. Magic. Wrong. Ancient. Binding. Raphael looked up at her. Pain carved deep into his features. "He ordered it," he forced out. "What?" "To kill you." The words hit harder than the blood. Mira's stomach dropped. "And you said no," she whispered. His lips twitched. Bitter. "I said no." Another cough ripped through him. He fell to one knee. Mira moved before she could think. She caught him. His skin burned against her palms. Fever. Rapid. Escalating. What is this? She demanded. He tried to breathe. Contract. The word barely formed. Magic. Mira's heart slammed. Gideon. Obedience? She asked. Raphael nodded once, sharp. If I refuse, he gasped. Blood streaked down his chin. My body turns on me. Mira's thoughts snapped into focus. Not war politics. Not pack maneuvering. Control. Gideon hadn't hired a rogue. He had bound one. Raphael convulsed. Mira tightened her grip. Then do it, she said fiercely. Lie. Tell him you will. Raphael's eyes locked onto hers. Green, burning, determined. I won't touch you. The certainty in that sentence stunned her. Even dying, he wouldn't bend. Another wave of magic pulsed through him. Mira felt it. Through the air, through the floor, through something deeper. Her wolf surged, violent, protective. And then, it happened. Not gentle, not gradual. Something inside her snapped toward him like a pulled thread. Heat flooded her veins. Her breath hitched. Raphael froze mid-cough. He felt it too. The space between them tightened. Familiar, ancient, inevitable. Their eyes locked. Mira, he breathed. Not warning, not command. Recognition. Her wolf roared forward. Mine. The word wasn't possession. It was alignment. Raphael's hand fisted in her shirt as another cough tore through him. Blood splattered her skin, and the pull between them intensified. If he dies. The thought hit her like a blade. She knew, instinctively, if he died, something in her would tear apart with him. Mate. The word formed without permission. Raphael shook his head once, as if he could deny it. Not possible, he rasped. The magic surged again. He collapsed fully this time. Mira caught his weight. Her pulse thundered. Raphael. His breathing faltered, weakening. Gideon's order still hung in the air. Kill her, or die. Mira's mind went cold, strategic, fast. If you kill me, she said, forcing steadiness into her voice, the magic stops. His eyes snapped open. Fury flared. No. Yes, she snapped. If the contract demands my death, I won't. The refusal came out feral, even bleeding, even bound. He would not. Mira's wolf rose fully now. No fear, no confusion, only clarity. Gideon had planned war. He had not planned fate. She cupped Raphael's face. His skin burned. Listen to me. His breathing stuttered. You don't have to obey him, she said. Another cough. You just have to believe you did. Raphael stared at her through the fever, and for the first time since the bar, hope flickered. Raphael's body trembled beneath Mira's hands. The bleeding slowed, but didn't stop. The magic wasn't constant. It came in waves, like it was waiting, testing. You can't outsmart a contract, Raphael said hoarsely. It's not that simple. Everything is that simple, Mira replied sharply. It's just people who complicate it. He almost laughed, then winced. You think Gideon didn't plan for resistance? I think Gideon planned for obedience, she said. There's a difference. Raphael tried to stand. She steadied him without comment. His weight leaned into her for half a second. Then he corrected himself. Pride, even now. You should leave, he said. The word startled her. What? If he believes you're still alive by morning, Raphael continued, voice steadier now. He'll send enforcers. And if I leave? She asked. You head south, he said. Cross the ridge. Rowan Dre won't turn you away once he hears what happened. And you? She demanded. Raphael didn't answer. Mira stared at him. You expect me to run while you bleed out on this floor? His jaw tightened. You're not my responsibility. The lie was weak. The bond pulsed between them, thin but growing. She felt the truth behind his restraint. You are everything now. Mira stepped back slowly. If I run, she said carefully, Gideon gets what he wants. Raphael's eyes flicked to her. He wants war. He wants leverage, she corrected. If I disappear again, he can still blame Rowan. Silence. Raphael was thinking. Good. Mira moved to the table and picked up the satellite phone. He didn't stop her this time. She examined it. Heavy, old, direct line. You said he wanted proof I'm alive, she said. Yes. Then give it to him. Raphael's gaze sharpened. That won't change the order. No, she agreed. But it changes the timing. Understanding dawned slowly in his expression. You want him impatient, he said. I want him reckless, she replied. The fire cracked softly. Outside, wind scraped against the cabin walls. Mira looked at him fully now. Gideon believes he controls every piece on the board, she said. He does not believe in variables. Raphael studied her. You're not as obedient as he thinks. She smiled faintly. He's never tried to kill me before. Raphael stepped closer. The space between them shrank again. No cage this time, just proximity. If I call him, he said carefully, and refuse again, the magic would finish what it started. Mira nodded once. Then don't refuse. His brows drew together. Don't agree either, she clarified. Delay. Raphael exhaled slowly. You're playing with fire. Mira met his gaze steadily. I was raised in it. The bond shifted again, stronger now, not explosive, aligning. Raphael's hand lifted unconsciously, brushing her wrist. The contact wasn't dominance. It wasn't possession. It was grounding. His skin still ran warm from the magic's aftershock. Mira didn't pull away. Her wolf stood at attention beneath her ribs. Not hungry. Certain. You felt it, Raphael said quietly. Not a question. Yes. The word settled heavy between them. Mate. Neither of them said it. They didn't need to. Raphael's eyes darkened, not with lust, with inevitability. This complicates everything, he said. Mira shook her head once. No, she said. It clarifies it. The phone sat between them. Choice. Raphael stared at it like it might bite him. Then he picked it up. He dialed. Mira watched his face, watched the control lock back into place. The mask. The call connected. Calder, Raphael said evenly. A pause. Yes, sir. Mira stepped closer, close enough to hear faint static. Gideon's voice carried through, distorted but unmistakable. Cold. Measured. Raphael listened. His jaw tightened once. Then, she's alive, he said. Silence on the other end. Mira's heart pounded. Yes, Raphael continued calmly. Under control. Another pause. Longer. Raphael's fingers twitched against the phone. Mira felt the tension spike through their bond. What? She mouthed silently. Raphael's eyes flicked to her. Then he said, Understood. The line went dead. Raphael lowered the phone slowly. Mira didn't like the look in his eyes. What did he say? Raphael didn't answer immediately. That was enough. Mira stepped forward. What did he say? Raphael met her gaze. He's coming himself. The air in the cabin shifted. Heavy. Cold. When? She asked. Raphael's voice went flat. By dawn. Dawn was coming. They both felt it. Not because of the light, but because of the clock ticking inside Raphael's spine. Gideon would arrive by morning. That left them one night. One. The fire had burned low. Mira sat across from Raphael, knees drawn up, watching the flames collapse into embers. Neither of them spoke for several minutes. The bond hummed now, faint but steady. Not overwhelming, just present. You should sleep, Raphael said quietly. Mira didn't look at him. If I close my eyes, I'll dream about him. Raphael's jaw tightened. He won't touch you. The certainty in his voice was feral. Mira finally lifted her gaze. Raphael. Something passed between them. He was closer than before, not intentionally, just closer. The cabin felt smaller tonight. She rose slowly, walked toward the window. Snow fell thicker now, wind sharper. She studied the darkness beyond the trees. 5 miles. She could make 5 miles. Maybe. Before dawn. Before Gideon. Her wolf stirred. Raphael sensed it instantly. Mira. She didn't answer. If you go now, he said quietly, I will follow. She turned. Even if it kills you? His gaze didn't waver. Yes. The words settled heavy between them. She believed him. That was the problem. I need to know, she whispered, if this bond is real, or if it's just adrenaline and proximity. Raphael stood, slowly. You know. Mira swallowed, because she did, and that terrified her more than Gideon. She stepped outside without another word. The cold hit her like a slap. Snow swallowed her footprints almost instantly. She shifted mid-stride, bones cracking clean, and ran. Hard. Not tentative. Not testing. Running. Through trees, through wind, through snow that clawed at her legs. Her wolf pushed forward, desperate to outrun the pull. To prove independence. To prove she was not already claimed. The forest thinned ahead. An open stretch. Ice. She saw it too late. Her front paw slid. The surface fractured. The lake cracked beneath her weight. She barely had time to twist before the ice gave way entirely. Water swallowed her whole. Cold slammed through fur and bone. Shock stole the air from her lungs. The bond snapped tight like a wire. Raphael. Her wolf clawed upward, but the ice above splintered into jagged shards. Her muscles seized from the cold. Vision blurred. The world narrowed. And then, impact. Something massive crashed through the broken ice. Gray fur. Teeth bared. Raphael's jaws clamped gently around the thick fur at her neck. He dragged her upward. Through ice. Through water. Through freezing air. They hit the snow together. He shifted immediately, hands grabbing her shoulders, forcing her back into human form. Mira! Her body trembled violently. He stripped off his coat without hesitation, wrapping it around her shaking frame. You stubborn! His voice broke. Not anger. Fear. Real. Unfiltered. She tried to speak. Her teeth wouldn't stop chattering. His hands moved over her arms, her back, her face, searching for injury. His breath came hard. If you died... He didn't finish. He didn't need to. The bond roared. No subtle hum now. It was pain, raw and tearing. He pulled her against him without asking, chest to chest, skin to skin. His heat bled into her, her fingers fisted into his bare shoulders. She felt him shaking too, not from cold, from what almost happened. "You followed," she whispered weakly. "Of course I did." The answer was immediate, certain. No pride, no hesitation, just truth. Her wolf quieted, not subdued, settled. Mira looked up at him. Snow clung to his dark hair. Water dripped down his throat. His green eyes were wild, not with dominance, with need. "You feel it now," she said softly. "Yes." The words scraped out of him. She reached up slowly, touched his jaw. He didn't move away. The air between them thickened. No firelight, no walls, just night, breath, heat. Raphael's hand slid into her hair, not claiming, anchoring. "You don't get to run from me," he said hoarsely. "I wasn't running from you," she whispered. She rose onto her toes, closed the distance. Their mouths collided, not tentative, not careful. It was hunger, teeth, breath stolen. His hands gripped her waist hard enough to bruise. She welcomed it. Her fingers dug into his shoulders, pulling him closer. The kiss turned deeper, rougher, desperate. Her body arched into his. His growl vibrated against her mouth. The bond surged like wildfire. She felt everything, his restraint breaking, his control snapping, his certainty that she was his. And she wanted it. Not obedience, not dominance. Him. He lifted her without breaking the kiss. Carried her back toward the cabin through the snow. Inside, the door slammed shut behind them. Heat met heat. Steam rose from wet skin. He backed her against the wall. His mouth found her throat, her pulse. His teeth scraped over the sensitive skin just beneath her ear. A sharp inhale tore from her chest. "Raphael." Her voice wasn't steady anymore. Neither was he. His hands slid beneath her shirt, over skin, up her ribs. Her breath fractured. The restraint that had lived between them shattered. This wasn't strategy. This wasn't fear. This was inevitability. He lifted her again, carried her to the bed. And when he lowered her down, there was no hesitation left in either of them. The night swallowed the last of their restraint. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, something far older took root. And neither of them tried to stop it. The storm did not quiet. Neither did they. When the fire burned low again and breath finally steadied, Mira lay tangled against Raphael's chest, her pulse sinking to his. The bond no longer hummed. It pulsed, alive, complete. She felt him now, not just emotion but presence. His awareness of her, his instinct to protect, his satisfaction, his fear. "Say it," she murmured softly. Raphael's hand traced the curve of her spine. "Mate." The word settled into her bones. No hesitation, no doubt. Mira closed her eyes briefly. She had been promised to Gideon Voss for peace. But this felt like war and sanctuary at once. "You should hate me," she whispered. "I ran." "You should hate me," he replied. "I took you." She tilted her head back to look at him. "I don't." The honesty surprised them both. Raphael studied her face carefully, like he was memorizing it under new light. "I've never had anything that wasn't temporary," he said quietly. The vulnerability in that sentence cut deeper than any growl ever had. Mira reached up, brushing her thumb along the scar near his temple. You have me. His throat tightened. Through the bond, she felt it. Not possession. Relief. Then, a shift. Subtle. Distant. Raphael's body tensed instantly. Mira felt it too. Presence. Not in the cabin. Not yet. But moving closer. He's crossed the ridge, Raphael said. Dawn was bleeding into the sky. Too soon. Mira sat up. The air felt thinner now. We don't have much time, she said. Raphael nodded once. His expression hardened, but not at her, at the coming threat. You need to leave, he said again. Mira's jaw clenched. We already tested that. If he sees you here, he will. Raphael looked at her sharply. Mira stood and began dressing without hesitation. He wants proof, she said. Let's give him something else. Raphael watched her carefully. You're not thinking clearly. I am thinking clearly, she snapped. Gideon expects obedience. He expects fear. He expects you to follow orders. Raphael's gaze darkened. I won't. I know. She stepped closer to him, close enough that the bond thrummed strong and steady. But he doesn't know that yet. Understanding moved across Raphael's face. Slow, measured. You want him to think I succeeded, he said. Mira nodded. Long enough to bring him here. Alone. Raphael's lips pressed into a thin line. He won't come alone. He'll come confident, she replied. That was better. Confidence made men careless. Raphael reached for her wrist. You're asking me to gamble with your life. Mira held his gaze. You already did. Silence. Heavy. Outside, the wind carried something new. Engines. Distant. Approaching. Raphael's body went still. He felt it through the ground before he heard it fully. They didn't have hours. They had minutes. Mira stepped back. Listen to me, she said quickly. If the contract is tied to his order, then once I'm dead... Raphael's eyes flashed. Don't. The magic stops. He grabbed her shoulders. I am not killing you. I know. Her voice softened. That's why I will. The air between them shattered. No, he growled. You said yourself. The contract punishes refusal. It punishes betrayal. And if I choose? She pressed. Raphael froze. The engine noise grew louder. Mira felt the bond flare. Hot, protective, desperate. If I choose, she continued quietly, it isn't betrayal. His breathing deepened. Mira. You said you've never had anything permanent, she said. So let me give you something that can't be taken. The truth settled. They both knew what she meant. The door outside slammed. Boots on snow. Voices. Raphael's hand slid down to hers. The bond surged. Not fear. Alignment. I will end him, Raphael said quietly. Mira nodded once. Yes. The cabin door exploded inward. Wood splintered. Cold air rushed in. Gideon Voss stepped through the frame like he owned the world. Tall, immaculate, untouched by storm. His gray eyes found Mira instantly. No shock, no relief. Calculation. You look well, Gideon said smoothly. Mira stepped forward. Raphael's grip tightened reflexively. She squeezed his hand once. Trust me. Gideon's gaze flicked between them. Something in his expression sharpened. Understanding. He could feel it. The shift. The bond. You've made a mistake, Gideon said mildly. Raphael stepped in front of Mira without thinking. Gideon smiled faintly. Calder, he said. Did you finish what I asked? Silence. The contract hung invisible between them. Raphael's jaw clenched. Mira stepped around him. Yes, she said clearly. Both men looked at her. Gideon's eyebrow lifted slightly. Oh? Mira met his gaze, unflinching. You ordered him to kill me, she said calmly. You just didn't expect me to hear it. The cabin went still. Gideon's smile faded. Careful, he warned. Mira's heart pounded, but her voice did not shake. You wanted war, she continued. You wanted Rowan blamed. You wanted me dead and untouchable. Gideon's eyes turned cold. You misunderstand. No, she said. I don't. Raphael moved closer behind her. Their shoulders touched, united. Gideon's gaze dropped to their hands, to the invisible thread binding them. Something dark flickered there. You've bonded, he said quietly. Not surprise, annoyance. Yes, Mira replied. Gideon's lips thinned. That complicates things. Raphael stepped forward. It ends things. Gideon's attention shifted fully to him. You forget yourself, he said softly. Raphael didn't blink. Give the order, he said. The challenge rang clear. Gideon studied him. Then slowly, he opened his mouth. Gideon's mouth curved slightly. You will kill her, he said. The words did not echo. They landed, heavy, deliberate. Mira felt the bond recoil inside her. Raphael did not move. Snow drifted between them. Rowan's blade remained at Gideon's throat. Give it properly, Raphael said quietly. Gideon's eyes flicked toward him. There was no anger there, only calculation. You think I won't? Gideon asked mildly. Mira stepped forward despite the blade, despite Rowan's tension. You staged my abduction, she said. Yes. No denial, no justification. You tested me, she continued. I verified you, Gideon corrected calmly. His gaze slid to Raphael. Fated bonds are inconvenient variables. Something dark flickered in his expression now. Not jealousy, not grief, possession. I will not share what belongs to me. Mira's blood went cold. I was never yours. Gideon smiled. You were promised. That's not the same thing. Raphael's breathing changed. Subtle, dangerous. Finish it, Raphael said. Or admit you can't. That did it. Gideon's composure shifted, just slightly. Very well, he said. He raised his hand. The air tightened. Magic thickened. Ancient. Binding. I order you, Gideon said clearly, voice carrying across the frozen lake, to kill Mira Thorne. The world snapped. Raphael jerked violently. Mira felt it through the bond, like iron bands slamming around his ribs. He dropped to one knee. Blood poured from his nose, from his mouth. Rowan swore under his breath. Contract magic, he muttered. Gideon's gaze never left Raphael. You accepted my terms, he said calmly. You swore obedience. Raphael's claws tore into the snow. His body trembled. The order pressed into him like a command carved into bone. Mira stepped forward. Stop it! You can't stop it, Gideon replied, almost bored. He belongs to the contract. Raphael lifted his head slowly. His eyes were no longer steady. They were fighting. Inside. Mira dropped to her knees in front of him. Look at me, she demanded. His gaze locked onto hers. Agony, rage, love. The bond flared violently, unstable, pulsing, burning. I can't, he choked. Yes, you can. Not this, he rasped. Gideon tilted his head slightly. Interesting, he murmured. He hesitates. The magic intensified. Raphael screamed, not loud, but broken. Mira felt something inside him tearing. If he refuses, Gideon continued, the contract will consume him. Mira's mind moved faster than fear. There was only one path, only one way to obey, and break the trap. She reached behind her, found the knife at Rowan's belt. Raphael saw it. No, he said hoarsely. She pressed her forehead to his. You won't disobey, she whispered. His breathing fractured. Mira, I choose you. And before Gideon could react, before Rowan could stop her, she turned the blade inward and drove it straight into her own heart. For 1 second, nothing happened. No scream, no magic flare, no dramatic collapse. Mira's breath simply left her. Raphael felt the bond snap. Not dim, not fade, snap, like a wire cut clean. Her body went slack in his arms. The contract stopped burning. The iron grip around his ribs vanished. The agony dissolved into absence. And absence was worse. Mira. The word barely formed. Snow fell around them. Rowan swore. Gideon stared. Then he laughed, low, satisfied. You see, Gideon said calmly. Unstable. Raphael didn't look at him. He couldn't. He gathered Mira against his chest. Her blood soaked through his coat. Warm. Too warm. You were never meant to survive this, Gideon continued. You proved my point. Raphael lifted his head slowly. Something inside him had gone very still, very cold. She chose, Gideon added, which means you obeyed. The words echoed. Obeyed. Rowan stepped forward. You're done, he said sharply. But Raphael wasn't listening. He pressed his forehead to Mira's. The space where the bond had been was a void. Not quiet. Empty. His wolf howled inside him. No echo came back. Raphael, Rowan said tightly. Move. Gideon took 1 step closer. Return to me, he said. You've fulfilled the contract. That did it. Raphael's head snapped up. Return. As if she were collateral. As if this were acceptable. You knew, Raphael said softly. Gideon's expression didn't change. Of course I knew, he replied. Fated bonds often drive irrational sacrifice. It was a predictable variable. Snow whipped harder. You never intended to keep her, Raphael said. She was leverage. The lake went silent. Rowan moved first. Steel flashed. But this time Gideon reacted faster. Magic surged. The air cracked. Rowan staggered backward as invisible force struck him. Gideon's eyes locked on Raphael. You are still bound, he said calmly. Do not forget that. Raphael felt it. The contract still existed, just dormant, waiting for the next command. You think killing her frees you? Gideon continued. It doesn't. Raphael stood slowly, still holding Mira. You don't get to speak about her, he said quietly. Gideon raised his hand. I order. The word never finished, because Rowan, bleeding and furious, moved again, and this time he didn't hesitate. The blade tore across Gideon's throat. Not clean, not elegant, brutal. Gideon staggered, Shock flickered for the first time across his face. Red spilled into the snow. He reached for Raphael, as if he expected obedience to save him. It didn't. He fell to his knees. His lips moved. No command came. The magic in the air snapped. Like glass breaking. Silence fell heavy. Rowan stood breathing hard. "It's over," he said. Raphael didn't answer. He lowered Mira into the snow carefully. Too carefully. Her skin was already cooling. Rowan stepped closer. "The magician said—" Raphael cut him off. "Don't." His hands shook. The knife still protruded from her chest. Rowan's voice dropped. "If you remove it, the wish triggers." "And if it doesn't?" Raphael asked. Rowan didn't answer. The storm intensified. Raphael closed his eyes. If this failed, he would follow her. No hesitation. He gripped the knife. Snow clung to his lashes. "Come back to me," he whispered. Then he pulled. For a heartbeat. Nothing. No breath. No pulse. No bond. Then, Mira arched violently. Air tore into her lungs like someone drowning dragged to shore. The bond slammed back into him so hard it knocked him backward. Pain. Heat. Light. Life. He grabbed her as she gasped. Her eyes flew open. Wild. Confused. Alive. The void inside him shattered. But the forest did not relax. Rowan stepped back. "We're not finished," he said quietly. Raphael held Mira against him. "What now?" she whispered. Rowan's gaze shifted toward the distant ridgeline. Gideon had lieutenants. Wind tore across the lake. Raphael looked at Gideon's body. There was no relief, only inevitability. They had killed the Alpha. Now the pack would decide what that meant. And blood had already been spilled. North Ridge did not welcome them. It watched them. The gates stood open. Not in invitation, in challenge. Mira felt it immediately. The shift in the air, the scent of unease, the crackle of anticipation. They had killed the Alpha. And wolves did not forgive that easily. Raphael walked half a step behind her. Not leading, not hiding. The bond between them hummed steady. But underneath it was something sharper. Prepared. The courtyard filled as they entered. Captains, lieutenants, older wolves with scars that predated Gideon. No one bowed. Good. Mira did not want fear. She wanted clarity. One wolf stepped forward, broad-shouldered, silver at his temples. "You return with his blood still on your hands," he said. His gaze flicked to Raphael, and with the rogue who spilled it. Raphael did not react. Mira did not look at him. "I return," Mira said calmly, "with the truth." Murmurs rippled. "The truth?" Another wolf snapped. "That you bonded to your kidnapper?" The word echoed. Kidnapper. The bond pulsed once. Heat. Restrained. Mira stepped forward. "Yes," she said clearly. The courtyard shifted. Not outrage, shock at her lack of denial. "You were taken," the silver-templed wolf pressed. "Used as bait in a war." "I was," she agreed. "And now you stand beside him?" "Yes." Silence thickened. "He was bound by contract magic," Mira continued. "Gideon orchestrated my abduction. He intended to blame Rowan Dre. He intended to start war." Gasps. Not disbelief. Calculation. "Prove it," someone challenged. Mira met his stare. "Search Gideon's chambers." A flicker passed between the captains. They had suspected something. They just hadn't wanted to see it. "And if we find nothing?" another wolf demanded. Mira's wolf rose. Not explosive. Not theatrical, but undeniable. The temperature in the courtyard shifted. You won't, she said quietly. The silence broke. A younger wolf stepped forward, hot-eyed. You expect us to kneel to you after you let him bite you? The insult hung in the air. Raphael moved. Mira stopped him with one look. She stepped down from the stone platform, closed the distance herself. The younger wolf held her gaze. For 2 seconds. 3. Then, his eyes dropped. First. Mira leaned slightly closer. You mistake bonding for weakness, she said softly. Her voice did not rise. It did not need to. If I had been weak, she continued, I would have died on that lake. She straightened. If you want an alpha who binds rogues with blood contracts and starts wars for leverage, choose someone else. No one moved. If you want one who chooses her mate openly, she continued, and stands in front of you without hiding the truth. Her gaze swept the courtyard. Then stand. No command, no compulsion, just choice. The silver-templed captain dropped to one knee, slowly, not submissive, intentional. One by one, others followed. Not all, but enough. Raphael felt it through the bond. She had not taken power. She had claimed it. And no one had forced them to bow. Mira turned to him, not in apology, in declaration. This is Raphael Calder, she said clearly. He is not a rogue under my protection. A pause. He is my mate. That landed differently this time. Not scandal. Finality. If anyone challenges him, she said calmly, you challenge me. The courtyard did not erupt. It shifted, acceptance forming, not from fear, from recognition, but at the edge of the crowd. 3 wolves did not kneel. They watched, calculating. Raphael noticed. Mira noticed. This was not over. It was only stabilizing. Raphael stepped closer to her. Still want this? He murmured quietly. Mira's lips curved faintly. I don't want it, she said. I own it. The wind shifted, and Northridge exhaled, not in peace, in recalibration. Northridge did not sleep. Even after the kneeling, even after the captains dispersed. Mira felt it through the stone floors of the keep. Whispers, movement, uncertainty. Power never transferred quietly. Raphael closed the chamber door behind them. The room still carried Gideon's scent. It would fade, but not tonight. Mira stood near the window, looking down at the courtyard. You felt them, she said. Yes. 3 of them. Yes. Silence stretched. Raphael moved closer, not touching her yet. You could have forced it, he said quietly. Submission. Mira turned to him. And become him? He studied her face. The bond thrummed steady between them. Stronger now, less volatile, but not calm. Are you afraid? He asked. Mira considered it. No, she said honestly. A pause. I'm prepared. Raphael stepped into her space, close enough now that her breath shifted. His fingers brushed her wrist. Slow, intentional. Prepared for what? He murmured. For someone to challenge you, she replied. His jaw tightened. If they do, they won't, she said. You don't know that. Her gaze sharpened. I know you. That landed. Heat rose between them, not frantic like before. Grounded. Controlled. Raphael's hand slid up her arm, across her shoulder, to her throat. His thumb traced the mate mark there. Possessive. Not apologetic. You stood in front of them, he said low. You didn't hesitate. I won't, she replied. His control slipped, just a fraction. He pulled her flush against him. Her back met the stone wall. His mouth found hers. Not gentle, not restrained, claiming. Her hands fisted into his shirt. The bond surged. Not wildfire, molten. His teeth grazed her throat. Her breath broke. "Raphael, you almost left me," he said against her skin. "I came back. You chose death. I chose you." The words cracked something open in him. He lifted her effortlessly, pressing her harder against the wall. Her legs wrapped around him instinctively. Heat coiled tight and heavy. His mouth trailed down her neck. Her hands moved lower, deliberate. No shyness, no hesitation. The door remained closed. But the pack below would smell it, would know. Let them. His fingers dug into her hips. Her body arched against his. The bond tightened, pulse for pulse. When he finally lowered her to the bed, it was not rushed, not frantic. It was deliberate, every touch slower, deeper, as if he was anchoring her to this world with his hands, with his teeth, with his breath. When they finally stilled, bodies tangled, breath uneven. The bond settled into something new, not unstable, not explosive, sealed. Mira traced the scar at his temple. "You're not leaving," she said quietly. He looked at her. "No." Outside, somewhere in the courtyard, a wolf howled, not in grief, in warning. Raphael stilled. Mira didn't. She held his gaze. "Tomorrow," she said calmly, "they decide if they kneel to an alpha, or test her." Raphael's eyes darkened. "Let them test." She smiled faintly. "Yes," she agreed, "let them." The challenge came at dawn. Not from the 3 wolves Mira expected. From one, the youngest of the captains. Hot-blooded, ambitious, stupid enough to think instability was opportunity. He stepped into the courtyard before the pack had fully gathered. "I challenge," he said. The word carried, clear, formal. Raphael's body tensed instantly. Mira placed a hand against his chest. "No," she murmured. The challenger's eyes flicked between them. "You bonded to your kidnapper," he said loudly. "You killed the alpha. You destabilized the pack." He turned to the wolves gathering. "Strength does not kneel to scandal." Mira stepped forward. "You challenge me?" she asked calmly. He hesitated, just a fraction, then squared his shoulders. "Yes." Raphael moved. Mira stopped him again. "I don't need you to fight for me." The challenger bared his teeth. "Prove it." The courtyard tightened. No cheering, no spectacle, just instinct. Mira removed her outer coat slowly, handed it to Raphael without breaking eye contact. The bond flared once between them. Trust. The challenger lunged first, fast, aggressive. Mira shifted mid-step. Her wolf exploded into motion, silver and precise. They collided in a blur of fur and claws. The fight was not long. It was controlled. She let him exhaust himself. Let him push. Let him try to overpower. Then, she twisted. Dropped him hard into the stone. Pinned. Her jaws hovered at his throat. Not biting. Close enough to taste. Silence swallowed the courtyard. Her wolf's growl vibrated low and lethal. He went still. Submission rolled off him in waves. Mira held him there a second longer. Not to humiliate, to clarify. Then she stepped back. Shifted. Human again. "If you challenge him," she said evenly, gesturing toward Raphael, "you challenge me." Her eyes swept the pack. "If you challenge me." she didn't finish. She didn't need to. No one moved. No one spoke. The line had been drawn, and no one wanted to cross it. Raphael stepped forward, not to shield her, to stand beside her. He took her wrist gently, lifted it, turned her toward him. The full moon had risen early, pale against morning light. He lowered his mouth to the mark at her throat. Slow, deliberate. Then he bit. Not gentle, not ceremonial, claiming. A growl rippled through the courtyard, not from threat, recognition. Mira tilted her head willingly. Blood warmed her skin. Her wolf surged, proud, unafraid. When he released her, she faced the pack, blood still bright against her throat. "This is not weakness," she said calmly. "It is choice." Raphael's arm wrapped around her waist. Possessive, unapologetic. "If you want fear," she continued, "you had it." She looked at Gideon's former captains. "If you want strength." Her fingers tightened in Raphael's shirt. "You're looking at it." Silence. Then, the silver-templed captain dropped to one knee. One by one, the others followed. Not because they were compelled, because the hierarchy had reformed, clear, stable, chosen. The challenger lowered himself last, head bowed. Raphael leaned close to Mira's ear. "You're terrifying," he murmured. She smiled faintly. "I know." The bond between them pulsed. Not volatile, not unstable, unbreakable. And in North Ridge, under a moon that had witnessed war, betrayal, and blood, no one questioned who ruled or who stood beside her, not because they feared him, because they knew, if they tried to take him, she would burn the mountain down.